Welcome to the Wealth Transfer, where we talk about global economics, biblical principles, and protecting and preserving your family's wealth. I am Terry Saka, Chief Strategist, and I'm along with Dr. Charles Vance, and today we're going to get into a little bit of the meat of immigration and what's taking place and why that's going to impact our future. So welcome, Charles.
Well, hello, Terry. It's great to be on the program again today. I think it's important how you're bringing information to people that otherwise might not know this, because the average news station is definitely not bringing this information to the general public.
You know, Charles, they're not bringing it in this way. What they're doing is spinning it, and you have to understand that the elite media is part of the Marxism, socialism, communism, Luciferianism. They can argue all they want, but the fact is probably about 7% of the media actually admits to being conservative. The rest of it is pretty liberal, and liberalism predominantly means socialism to communism, which eventually is Luciferianism or Marxism. I mean, maybe they don't even know where they're at. The point is, it's against God, it's against Jesus Christ as Lord and Savior, and the bigger part of that is if you don't have Jesus Christ as the center and authority and the Bible as the center and authority of your life, you don't know what truth is. Truth is only given to us by God, and we cannot redefine truth. So as we embark on a nice Common Core educational system, which is an indoctrination of your children, away from truth and belief, when all of a sudden there's multiple belief systems and different definitions of truth, where are we going? I'd say Luciferianism. So we in the body of Christ better be aware of the information that we're presenting, because it's about protecting our assets. Remember, we have IRAs and 401ks, church money, ministry money. And why it's so important to us is we know if we're in the wrong asset when this takes place, this geopolitical shift of dynamics taking place, we will lose substantial wealth. And when we do, are we going to be any good to the poor or spreading the gospel? And I'd say not. So let's get properly protected and educated and just understand, and if it takes time, just pray, because the most important thing is, you know, just get it done wherever you go, but we're here to educate
But Terry, we talk about this on a regular basis, and I know the people that work at Cornerstone convey this information to me when I talk to them. I know they talk to you about it every day. People are hearing this, but many times they're not doing anything about it.
They're doing nothing.
They're just sitting like, well, we know that's going to happen someday, and it's almost like the return of Jesus Christ. Well, yeah, we know it's going to happen someday, but they're not getting ready or prepared so that they can be victorious when the event takes place or when the transfer. This program is called Wealth Transfer.
There's a reason.
And wealth is moving continually. It's transferring. Wealth doesn't leave the planet. Money, goods, material things don't leave the planet. What they do is they shift ownership. They change ownership. And you've got to be in a position when that wealth starts moving, that you're in a position to receive it, that it comes to you and doesn't move from you. That's one of the major themes of this television program.
Well, and I know it's a spirit of fear and confusion. They don't know who to listen to, and they don't know if they can even trust me. I know I get a kick out of it because people will call you, I know, time, and can we trust them?
And most of them are people that don't know me either. Like,
but the thing is, the irony of that is I'm thinking, why would he even be sitting here? Why would we have been on Christian television for 3 years?
Yeah.
And if it really was that bad, wouldn't it have been known by now?
Yeah.
It's not even the point. We're trying to disseminate information to get people properly protected, because we left off last week talking about this immigration and how we're in Iraq, and we show you how Iranians have moved in. We can't stress the importance of this Iranian nuclear deal and how horrific it is to the Western civilization and their survival. And those that don't believe that, I will academically Lincoln Douglas debate it, because I love to hear some answers. There's economists out there, God bless him, I won't throw his name out now, but he's counter to stuff we say to a degree, saying how we're in a massive deflation and the dollar's really strong. I'm just telling you that's flat out not accurate. Deflation, yes. Inflation, yes. Dollar strong, no. Dollar is only strong because the euro and the Japanese yen, which is the biggest weight measure of what gives the dollar value, is so weak it's negative interest rate. The dollar is only strong because its trade partners are ready to implode. So it's a really, really bad conception to say the dollar's strong.
Now Terry, what happens with that when somebody else, like the Japanese, I know they're financially, their economy is in horrible condition.
Beyond horrible, yes.
So what happens with that when there's a problem there? Because I know most people say, well, that's in Japan, it's not here in America.
Problem is, think of a teeter-totter. When the Japanese yen and the European Union currency does bad, it lifts the teeter-totter and makes the dollar look strong. Our dollar is not strong. Wait till over the next few weeks you see some of the current and raw data. It's not strong. So the impact of that is an illusion that we're doing better than we are. And the media mainstream is fooling we the people. I'm merely here to say we the people better snap up and wake up and get properly educated, protected, and diversified. Because let's go into, I'm going to go back to this image, Charles, with where we showed Iran. This is really important, and I want people to see this. So let me go back into this slide here. Now, this will be in Yemen. Why is Yemen so important? The Saudi Arabian people are, youth are really, really, let's just say unsatisfied, and they're ready to overthrow that king. If I have to predict, which numerous of our predictions over the last 3 years on TV have come true, if I have to predict, that Saudi king right now today will not be there in 60 to 90 days. And if I'm a little off, fine, but he won't be there. Why?
It's because of the dissatisfaction
of the youth. And they're going to overthrow it. Saudi Arabia is in so much trouble. That's why when we look at the pink area is the Houthi. The Houthi are backing the Iranians. Well, all the dotted areas, which cover almost all the other port of Yemen, are the Al-Qaedas. They're almost teaming up to a degree to overthrow Saudi Arabia. So Saudi Arabia is actually right now today in a war with Yemen. What's astonishing is we haven't seen one piece of footage showing the Saudis destroying the Yemeni people and buildings. Not one. And it's happening. The Iranians are dropping off massive amounts of weapons, matter of fact, right up here on this port. And it's important to understand because we've unleashed the Iranian nuclear deal and have given them this money and power, they have now gone proxy, meaning they're in these countries causing war. Now, what is that doing? You're bringing extremism. Extremism. ISIS isn't slowing down. ISIS is what did it in Paris. And they're all over the extremist Wahhabists of the Middle East. Who's the Wahhabists? That's Saudi Arabia. And so they're the ones promoting the overthrow of Syria. Now, it's important to grab this because they're going after the very petrodollar that runs our economic system, your standard of living, our church's survival if we're in the wrong asset. Look at what ISIS is doing right now. Right now, look at this next image. And this is kind of a little graphic, but it's not. I'm sorry. They're lining up Christians and beheading them and killing them. And what are we doing about it? You think that's just random? You can take that off. I know it's a little disturbing to me, too. If we think that's random, it's not. Because they're doing it all over the Middle East. The main goal of ISIS and extremist Islam is to eradicate Christianity. Wait until you see how I show you how the trade deal is going to flood our nation with millions and millions and millions and millions of Muslims. And there's no such thing as a moderate Muslim, mind you, because Islam is a non-assimilating religion. You either join them or die, period, read the Quran. So I'm just merely saying this is a design I believe the elites are using to overthrow the governments and monarchies of the West to allow the one world order to take place down the road. And it's going to affect us dramatically. And if you don't think immigration is important, here's the beginning image now. Look at this. They're just walking down the streets in droves to the West. They're invading these small European countries like you can't believe.
And they're running from what? What are they running from? Is it the war that is going on?
It's the war in Syria. So these people are running from the war in Syria. They're running from the war in Libya. Remember, we destroyed Libya.
And the wars between the two extremes.
What happened is this. We destabilized the governments. We took out the governments of Egypt. We took out the government of Libya. We've taken out these other governments. We're going after rearranging the pawn. And we've caused the countries to have a vacuum of instability. So the people are fleeing. And I believe they're being pushed to the West by counter sources, shall we say, extreme left-wing socialist liberal mega billionaires, starting with a last name S. So let's get serious here and know that there is an attack on the very fabric of our Western culture, our Christianity. Are we going to walk in power and lose what we have saved our life for, not have resources? Get an education. Start by doing that and get these agreements understood, and here's a way you can get started.
Cornerstone Asset Metals is here to help you protect and preserve what you have worked hard to gain. For those who have IRAs to protect, 401ks to preserve, or cash in the bank, we would like to send you a package of information regarding the changes to the dollar and the challenges of our economy that you need to be prepared for. This package includes how easy it is to roll over your current IRA or 401k into a physical precious metals IRA for long-term protection of your hard-earned wealth. For those of you with cash to invest, we can arrange to have your precious metals stored in a private vault or simply send it to your home. Call or register now.
Now, we haven't been shown a lot of this, Charles, a lot of it at all, folks, about what this massive immigration is. People running. I mean, there's by the droves. Look at this. Tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of them moving. Look at this moving across the plains. These are farm fields of immigrants walking down the roads. It's almost as eerie as the roads Rome built and the Vikings came down and destroyed them. Those are all 100% Islamic, and yet they fight to allow Christians in. Those folks, some of them may be good. We're not here to know that. All we know is it's a non-assimilating culture, and a lot of jihadis are in these groups, and you don't think so. Ask yourself this question. Go back to the full screen. Let's look at the back here and see this image. This would probably be image number 7 if I have to guess. And it would be something where you get the bending. I love this one, the bend. Look at this. I mean, the farm fields, nice, peaceful European villages being taken over by hundreds of thousands fleeing the Middle East. And there's no other religion on the planet that is as violent towards Christian and Western civilization as Islam. So the Europeans have their hands full. And, last week, or a couple weeks ago in France, we're starting to see just a fraction of what's coming. And so this is a problematic issue. I'm glad I'm not a politician, but I know the Western civilization is in trouble. And what does it matter to us? If Europe is destabilizing at a rapid rate that it is, the European Union is one of the biggest partners of us for trade. Our economy will continue to slide into recession. Europe already is in recession, mind you. So as we're going into this culture, here's one example that we'll get into. I'd like to jump on this quickly because, we talked about the trade deal. Remember the trade deal we had? And this whole TPP, Trans-Pacific Partnership?
Sure.
Check this out. Now, that image right there, we're looking on the screen here behind us, is the immigration of it. Here's the bill. Now, mind you,
that's crazy.
5,000 pages. Now, a lot of them say it's a good trade deal. I'm here to tell you one aspect of this trade deal that is going to astonish you. Wait till you see this.
My wife and I deal in real estate, and it takes about 10 to 15 minutes to just go through the papers, not read the papers, to go through them and sign them now. There's nobody that is reading this stuff.
5,000 pages.
Who's reading this?
They're lawyers, but listen, this is not, there's good stuff in this.
I'm asking about the people that make the laws.
I know.
Are the people that make the laws reading these before they vote on them?
No, they're not.
They're just letting someone tell them what's in them, because that's what my real estate people do.
They could not even look at this. This was done in secret. You have to understand this was secret. Why is this important? Here it is. 12 countries signed on to this trade deal right here. But this is important. Some of it's decent because it tries to corral trade in an organized way, but there's deception in there. Remember the devil's in the detail?
Sure.
Okay, listen to this.
Fine print.
5,000 pages. There's a 13th member, 13 witchcraft, my opinion. There's a 13th member coming in. And just the other, about a few weeks ago, the president said he has a very soft heart for Indonesia, special place because he lived there, Muslim, okay? Indonesia is a population of 250 million people. Indonesia is 90% Muslim. And if they become a member of the TPP states that the members of each country will be allowed to migrate to the other's country without any hassle or major paperwork.
Oh, wow.
Open border. Grab what I just said. 250 million people live in Indonesia, and they're going to be allowed to migrate to America. Now, what's going on in Indonesia right now? The burning, and you're not hearing about this, so please understand, if you research it, you'll understand the truth. I'm here to deliver this. Our standard of living, our way of life in protecting the church, our resources is in jeopardy in the near future, and I'm determined to save that for the kingdom. Indonesia right now currently is burning down Christian churches. They're burning and killing Christians like you wouldn't believe. They're only about 10% of the population, so only about 25 million, if that, are Christians. Probably not even that because there's other religions in there as well. But the Sharia law governments of Indonesia are absolutely annihilating Christian churches and Christians in Indonesia, and they're going to become a member of this TPP. Congratulations, America. We just signed a trade deal that I really predict will flood this nation with a group of people that sole goal is you assimilate to them or you die. Don't kid yourself, read the book. So this is a trade deal of epic proportion against our culture and our finances. And it's more about the finances from my angle because I believe as this evolves, we don't have the resources, we're in a lot of trouble. So the pressure we have already, Charles, is tremendous regarding welfare, unemployment, right?
Sure.
I mean, we know this. We know that right now we have about 100 million people unemployed. Mm-hmm. Welfare is $1 trillion a year. Now we spend on welfare.
That's crazy.
100 million people employed, small towns.
Unemployed.
Yes. And we have released, our government has released in the last 2-3 years, mainly 2 years, tens and tens of thousands of criminal, illegal aliens into the small towns. There are more reports of sanctuary city criminal, illegal alien murders and rapes and drugs. Even a presidential candidate was brought out the truth. They tried to jump him, and he showed how it was true. The data says it. The sheriffs back it up.
It's been all over the news.
I'm just really coming from the data. I'm data-driven.
Right.
I'm not really opinion-driven. I don't like opinions.
Sure.
I like data.
Absolutely.
The data says that. So why are we releasing criminal, illegal aliens into our culture? I mean, if people are going to let them stay, that's one thing, but every single criminal needs to go, right? When I'm saying this because the strain on our society, financially, locally, let alone emotionally, Christian, economically, is being strained to the max. We can't have 100 million unemployed and say, let's bring in another 10 to 20 million.
What's the national debt right now? Somewhere right at...
National debt just got ticked up, matter of fact. It was at 18 trillion in change for about 9 months.
Now, Cornerstone Asset Metals, you've got a running total of
we
that
do.
on there. That's cool. I
but
like that
it
clock.
Stayed the same forever. They were rigging the number, and then they finally agreed to raise the debt limit, and we've just skyrocketed upwards of 19 trillion.
Now, if anybody actually reads unfunded liabilities,
I was just going there.
It's crazy. It's over $100 trillion, isn't it now?
Yes.
So there's no way it can be paid back.
Never. And the baby boomers is 60 trillion. What we're merely saying is our assets, our retirement system, our IRAs, our 401ks are in extreme jeopardy as a church.
And the government's not going to take care of us. We're going to have to take care of ourselves.
We have to.
People,
absolutely.
People they throw stuff over in other people's laps. Well, I've got this or I've got that. My dad pastored a church for 30 years and had nearly nothing, just $200 or $300 off of retirement. If we hadn't taken care of him for years, he probably wouldn't have had anything to live on. There's all kinds of people that have things such as that that they think somebody else is taking care of them. Listen, I just want to give you a piece of advice. My bishop gave me this advice about 20 years ago. He said, don't let somebody else take care of your financial future. Take care of your own financial future. And it was some of the best advice I'd ever gotten from anybody.
And you know, Charles, the best way they can do that is to get prepared, get educated, understand this data we're giving you is actually real. Get a package, register for information, give us a call at Cornerstone. We'll guide you through this process. You're in paper currency. Best way to get started, like I said, is to be educated. And here is a really good way to do that. And I encourage you, call or register to get started on that. And let's do that by this. This is one way to get it going.
Cornerstone Asset Metals is here to help you protect and preserve what you have worked hard to gain. For those who have IRAs to protect, 401ks to preserve, or cash in the bank, we would like to send you a package of information regarding the changes to the dollar and the challenges of our economy that you need to be prepared for. This package includes how easy it is to roll over your current IRA or 401k into a physical precious metals IRA for long-term protection of your hard-earned wealth. For those of you with cash to invest, we can arrange to have your precious metals stored in a private vault or simply send it to your home. Call or register now.
Now, the reason this is important, Charles, I mean, we're talking the Middle East, and I understand. But this is so important because our enemies see this. The BRIC nations, they made a move on the Middle East as we described. Russia, China, India, South Africa made a move. They have the banks, they have the counter IMF, they have everything. The Chinese and the Russians know this. So they see the West being invaded. They're making a move on our ability to control the dollar's dominance. This is what this is about at the end of the day. I'm not into here to parse partial on immigration. I personally believe let's take care of the people inside our country first. The rest of it, you guys figure it out. I'm just telling you, we're not even feeding our own people. Why are we bringing in more? But as far as our dollar dominance, this standard of living attack is going to affect the church, the ministry, and every individual's ability to have an inheritance to the children's children. So I guess the best way to put this is image number 9 for myself, because what is really happening is an inconvenient truth is becoming a reassuring lie. You say it enough, say it enough, say it enough, you believe it to be true.
Well, here's a simple,
interesting, isn't it?
Here's a simple biblical spiritual truth: is faith comes by hearing, and hearing by the Word of God.
Thank you.
You'll believe
Lucifer,
whatever you hear the most.
Right.
That's why I've asked people over and over again. I said, have you ever believed anybody that told you a lie? Did you ever have anybody tell you a lie and you believed them? And everybody in the room always raises their hand. You know the reason you do that is because you hear that lie over and over again to the point that that spiritual law kicks in and you actually are persuaded that it's true. That's what faith is.
And it goes the same thing with the Luciferianism.
Sure.
Luciferian does the opposite.
Yeah, sure. It's just a perversion.
Yeah, so when they don't say that these attacks are being done by jihadis, America, are we feeling like this? I'm serious.
Yeah, on a squirrel
With
cage.
everything that's being said to us, do we feel that this is what's happening to us? Are we feeling that we're in a culture that is doing this very thing? We are so confused and so fearful because of the knowledge and information that is out there that we don't know what we're doing. So we're sitting in this wheel. Charles, the velocity of money, meaning a hoarding of money, is so ferocious. We in the kingdom are not making the right choices. And I can tell you why I know this is getting close is just look at this next image on number 11 on statutory debt. This is skyrocketing. That's a U.S. debt limit, debt ceiling. Remember, we just talked about that debt ceiling? It was 18.4. Look at it now, 19.6 trillion. This is statutory debt, meaning Congress has given the ability for our debt to be that high. So if you noticed, if anything else, let's go back to, just go to full screen. Watch this. It's on the back of us right now. Let me go back right here. That statutory debt, one thing I just want you to notice, but most of us are not. You notice the trajectory? Saying that right. Look at it, straight up. that doesn't survive over time.
Well, sure it can.
That's absolutely huge.
It's going to blow up or something.
It's going to blow up.
Yeah.
And this is my point. And let's go to the next image.
And Terry, that all has to do with our financial system.
Yes.
This is not like, well, the government's going to blow up.
But here's the problem, Charles. If we're this bad now, where are we going to be when that dollar gets attacked in the petrodollar? This is where I'm going with this. Look at this right here. This is going back to 1950 to where we are in 2015. Look at the red above the blue. Now, what that really is the red are total loans. The blue is total debt. We have been just unstable almost for 20-some years, but that will evolve into a really bad situation. I'm just really saying it's happening sooner because of what's happening in the Middle East. The attack on the dollar that's coming, just know where you're getting your information from. So we'll continue this more next week. Wait till you see how this evolves. And again, remember, keep that truth inside because that truth will set you free. God bless you.
Be sure to tell somebody about the broadcast. We're on at the same time right here on this station every week. And also don't forget you can watch these programs on demand at cornerstoneassetmetals.com. I'm Charles Vance for Terry Saka. We'll see you next week right here on the Wealth Transfer.
Cornerstone Asset Metals has focused on using gold and silver reserves to protect your assets from volatile currencies. Another hard asset that is just as important for your sustainability is food. We believe that preparation is a key to being successful in an unstable economic environment, so we started Cam Ready Food just for you. The Bible tells us that Joseph used the resources of Egypt to prepare for a global famine by storing up food in a time of plenty. His preparation not only preserved the lives of his family, but many others as well. At Cornerstone, we believe the time is now to re-examine this biblical lesson so that you and your family can be prepared for any disaster, job loss, food shortage, or economic instability. You can start preparing today by visiting our website, camreadyfood.com, because food truly is the ultimate currency. Cornerstone Asset Metals is here to help you protect and preserve what you have worked hard to gain. For those who have IRAs to protect, 401ks to preserve, or cash in the bank, we would like to send you a package of information regarding the changes to the dollar and the challenges of our economy that you need to be prepared for. This package includes how easy it is to roll over your current IRA or 401k into a physical precious metals IRA for long-term protection of your hard-earned wealth. For those of you with cash to invest, we can arrange to have your precious metals stored in a private vault or simply send it to your home. Call or register now.
Into a little bit of the meat of immigration and what's taking place and why that's going to impact our future. So welcome, Charles.
Well, hello, Terry. It's great to be on the program again today. I think it's important how you're bringing information to people that otherwise might not know this, because the average news station is definitely not bringing this information to the general public.
You know, Charles, they're not bringing it in this way. What they're doing is spinning it, and you have to understand that the elite media is part of the Marxism, socialism, communism, Luciferianism. They can argue all they want, but the fact is probably about 7% of the media actually admits to being conservative. The rest of it is pretty liberal, and liberalism's
on a regular basis. And I know the people that work at Cornerstone convey this information to me when I talk to them. I know they talk to you about it every day. People are hearing this, but many times they're not doing anything about it.
They're doing nothing.
They're just sitting like, well, we know that's going to happen someday, and it's almost like the return of Jesus Christ. Well, yeah, we know it's going to happen someday, but they're not getting ready or prepared so that they can be victorious when the event takes place or when the transfer. This program is called Wealth Transfer.
There's a reason.
And wealth is moving continually. It's transferring. Wealth doesn't leave the planet. Money, goods, material things don't leave the planet. What they do is they shift ownership.
Going. I'd say Luciferianism So we in the body of Christ better be aware of the information that we're presenting, because it's about protecting our assets. Remember, we have IRAs and 401ks, church money, ministry money. And why it's so important to us is we know if we're in the wrong asset when this takes place, this geopolitical shift of dynamics taking place, we will lose substantial wealth. And when we do, are we going to be any good to the poor or spreading the gospel? And I'd say not. So let's get properly protected and educated and just understand, and if it takes time, just pray, because the most important thing is, just get it done wherever you go. But we're here to educate
But Terry, we talk about this on a
Welcome to the Wealth Transfer, where we talk about global economics, biblical principles, and protecting and preserving your family's wealth. I am Terry Saga, Chief Strategist, and I'm along with Dr. Charles Vance, and today we're going to get dominantly means socialism to communism, which eventually is Luciferianism or Marxism. I mean, maybe they don't even know where they're at. The point is, it's against God, it's against Jesus Christ as Lord and Savior. And the bigger part of that is, if you don't have Jesus Christ as the center and authority, and the Bible as the center and authority of your life, you don't know what truth is. Truth is only given to us by God, and we cannot redefine truth. So as we embark on a nice Common Core educational system, which is an indoctrination of your children, away from truth and belief, when all of a sudden there's multiple belief systems and different definitions of truth, where